Okay, so what I would like for you to do is go ahead and delete all of your trees, shrubs, bushes, grass, rocks, foliage. You can leave the bridge, you can leave the building, leave the the fences, leave that stuff, but delete all the foliage type, all the natural stuff. Get rid of all the natural stuff. Leave the water, leave your terrain. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take the terrain that we've already built, and it should almost look like this, except you guys will have, like I said, your perpetual motion objects and building and stuff like that in it. And now we're going to use Quixel to kind of rebuild the level that we've got here. And so the object is we want to focus on using Quixel to enhance our level from where it is here. And you may need to do a little bit of tweaking of the sculpt and stuff like that, but we're going to use Quixel for this. So the way to access Quixel is if you just go to the little plus sign right there, click that, and you can see Quixel Bridge is right here. And so I'm going to click on Quixel Bridge, and because it's integrated with UE5 now, comes up on my other monitor, I'm just going to cancel this. You can always just cancel this. If I'm at home, I allow access, but here on these computers, if I do that, it asks for administrative rights, and I don't have them, so I just cancel it. Either one's okay. So it brings up Quixel, which is now, as I mentioned, it's now integrated right into UE5. So that's pretty cool to be able to do that. And it gives me all these different options. In fact, let me expand this so we can take a look at it. So hopefully you had a chance to take a look at Quixel this week and just play a little bit around with it. We're going to get way more into it. Now they have, you can see right offhand here, they've got some that they're highlighting that they've made recently, from a saloon to some rubble to these xeric shrublands there. And they've also got new assets. They're always constantly building new assets. As we watched the video last week, they'd send teams out all across the world to gather data and bring it back to their artists, their programmers, their tech artists, and to create these cool assets and materials for us to be able to use. And so, anyway, so that's what we're working on. So just for kicks, I'm going to use this newest one, this xeric shrublands right here, and I'm gonna click on it, and it's going to come up with all of these really interesting assets that we can use. Now, one thing I want to caution you on is that if it says gigantic, it means it. This piece right here, you're looking at it and you're like, oh, that's like a little small, like a puddle or something. This is going to be larger than your entire terrain. I'm gonna click on it anyway, just for the fun of it. So I'm gonna click it, and then when it comes up over here on the right-hand side, there's a couple things I can do, but I'm gonna sign in, and I'm just use my Epic sign-in when I sign in. If by signing in, it makes it easier to download. So, okay, good. It grabbed my sign-in from, because I'm already signed in to Unreal there. So when you select it, yeah, Grayson. Yeah, if you go into the plus sign right here and then just go to Quixel Bridge, it'll open that. So plus sign, Quixel Bridge. And then, so over here I selected this gigantic sandstone, and then this window popped open for me, and there's a couple things it tells me. It tells me what size it is. In fact, normally there's a little person standing here, so if I were to choose like this sandstone boulder, maybe that'll be, see, the boulder is going to be this size as opposed to a human here. So that boulder's, what, about 2-3 feet tall here. But this one, because it's gigantic, you can't even see a person here. In fact, I don't know. I can't see it without my glasses. You can't even see. There's no person here. That's how huge this asset is. And it also says it's open. What do you think it means by open? No, that's a good guess, though.
Open world?
Open world? No, that's a good guess. There's no back face to it. That's right. In this case, no bottom face to it. Yeah, absolutely. It's an open asset, meaning there's...
Hollow.
if this was it, yeah, it's like you cut off the bottom of it and you can see through the bottom. There's no, it's open. It's just completely open on the bottom. Sometimes it's the back. Yeah. And so very good. So it tells you whether it's an open or a closed asset. If it's closed, what would the benefit be to being closed as opposed to being open? Yeah, Grayson. Yeah. Yeah, you can see it from any angle. So I could rotate it around, couldn't I? I can't rotate this gigantic sandstone. It's open. If I tried to rotate it, the player would be able to see the open spaces underneath it. So there's advantages to having closed one. What's an advantage to having an open asset? Logan?
It's less of a performance hit because it's only rendering part that's...
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's less triangles in there. They've cut them off. You're not going to see them. Yeah, Lucas?
I guess this isn't really for the person using it, or for making it. It's easier to make it because that's one less.
Yeah, that's less.
Model.
Yeah, that's less stuff they have to model, right? All right, very good. So yeah, there are benefits to having open assets, and there are benefits to having closed assets, and then assembly. So if we scroll down a little bit, it gives us some related assets, and it tells us what collection it's a part of right here. And I'm just going to go ahead. Before I hit download, one thing I want you guys to be aware of is that we're going to start using Nanite. And so right here you can see it says Nanite. If yours yours probably says like medium quality. Why is that interfering? There you go, now you can see it. I think by default it says medium quality on there, and I want you to change that to Nanite. And the reason is that Nanite is this new tool in Unreal Engine 5, which means you can have millions of triangles for these assets. And what it does is it still allows you to play without taking a hit on your processor. So you won't get any lag from it. So you can have these multi-million triangle assets and you don't take the hit. And I don't understand all the science behind it. I think what they're doing is they're like swapping out LODs. Like some of these may have 7, 8, 9, 10 LODs, depending on how much space they take up on the overall in the overall screen. So, but anyway, we're going to choose Nanite, and then you can download this object. And when I hit download, it takes a moment to download it because this one's probably got millions. It's huge. So it's probably got millions of triangles in it, and you can see here it's downloading. Now I'm going to warn you, be careful. Something we encountered last night that I hadn't really planned on is that when you, let's see if I can find it. That is not the right one. It's probably the Brad folder. AM Terrain. So right now, my AM Terrain folder, I'm at 6 gigs. Okay, and it wasn't at 6 gigs last night. It was at about 2 gigs. And the thing about these assets, these Quixel assets, your level is going to grow really huge, really fast. So last night I had a student, and he was like, my zipper says it's going to take an hour and a half to zip it. And I was like, what? And we looked at it. He had put so much stuff in there. It was at 21 gigs, his folder was. And so that was correct. It was going to take an hour and a half to zip, 21 gigs. And so just be careful. And we'll have to save earlier in the class, before class is over. We'll have to start saving earlier because it's going to take up more space. So, but these assets are amazing. They look really good and whatever. So, and it could be this gigantic sandstone takes up a lot as well. So I downloaded it, and now I'm going to add it. So I'm just going to click Add. And it's going to add it to my level. There it is. It's added in there. I don't know if it was already added from last night. Yeah.
So is that even with the download as an Nanite, and it's still run with it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's downloading the full version of it in here in my content browser, and it's still the full version in there. It's just when it's on your screen, it's more optimized for the actual screen time. Yeah. So. All right, so good. Yep, and there it is. So I'm just going to close my content browser. I just want to show you what this looks like. I'm going to throw bridge up there so I can go back and forth. And if I look up, where'd it go? I hit the plus sign, but it didn't show up anywhere. So sometimes that happens. If that happens, just pull it off and just drag it in. So just pull it off and drag it in. I find that to be actually to work better. So I'm going to take it from here. I hit the add button, but I don't know why it didn't add it. But I'm going to click it, drag it, and I'm going to drop it here in the level. And it takes just a moment because there's a lot to it. It's a pretty huge thing. And so I just drag and drop it from over here. Let's give it a moment. All right, there it is. So you can see the texture hasn't quite come in fully yet. And, that looks pretty good, but let's, where'd my terrain go? Oh, yeah, there's my terrain. I told you it was huge. So anyway, if I want to use this, I probably need to increase my camera speed a little bit just to fly around a little faster. So it's a nice large terrain area, but I'm going to select it and I'm going to drag it down so I can see, look how large, it's like 1/10 or 1/20th. My terrain is the size of this thing. So I'm just going to scale it down. So I'm going to scale it. I'm going to pull this out so y'all can see it. Make sure my scale is locked, and then I'm going to go to like 0.1. Oh, my num lock isn't on. 0.1. There we go. All right, I cranked it down. Let's see. For me, that's still way too large. So I want to have it over a smaller area. Oops. So I'm even going to crank it down to about half of that. So I'm going to go to 0.05. There we go. So now I can take this and I can just kind of make it how I want it. So if I only want just a portion of it like that, then I can do that and I can rotate it around and I'm going to fit that in the corner. Now I'm probably wasting a lot of space if I don't use the whole thing, because look how much there's tons of it under the land and I'm only using a little piece of it. What's that?
It's like an iceberg.
Yeah.
Except icebergs are underwater, not under land.
So I'm going to take that and I can pull it over here and maybe I can increase it in size. So I'll go to my scale tool, and pull it up a little bit. Whoops. What's going on? So maybe I'll just do it by hand again. So I kind of like it that large. 0.08 maybe. There we go.
But it turns out even if it says gigantic, it doesn't have to be gigantic. You can make it small.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of like it like that. I'm going to hide. Notice I'm hiding this edge by sinking it in the ground right there, and then I'm just going to place it where I want it. So I have my road there, so my road's kind of interfering with this. I wonder if there's there's a better spot for it over on the other side over there. Yeah, I like that much better. Okay. So anyway, and I can play around and expand it and do whatever I want with it. All right, so anyway, so you can do that. And then you'll just take your other Quixel assets and I would just start, normally if you guys could see both my monitors, this wouldn't be an issue. I'm trying to do it in just one monitor here. So let's see if I can get to a small space over here. All right, and then you can take some of these others. So if it says gigantic, believe it. If there's smaller ones like this, I'm going to click on it and it tells me in relation to a person, okay, that's not so bad. I can just click it, drag it, and drop it in my scene. Here's another one, huge sandstone. So that one's going to be a little bit larger. And so I'll find a place for it. And then some other pieces that will allow me to play around with them and manipulate them. And here's another one. If it says gigantic, I think that's the biggest. Huge is probably next. So I'm gonna drag a huge piece off here. So that's not so bad. The huge piece I can work with. But it's just quick and easy to be able to drag these off. And this one's open because if I rotate it around, see how the back side, you can't see. They didn't model it, they deleted the back side of this. So for all of you modelers who want to model things, it's a good skill to have to be able to model something and make the back of it flat. So,
On the other hand, if it had all sides, it would be more versatile.
it may be, yeah.
Really, the only side you don't need for these sort of things is probably the bottom.
So I'm gonna drag that up there. I'm gonna take this piece. I'm gonna pull it over. And I'm gonna scale these a little bit. I'm gonna scale it on that axis, maybe scale it on this axis. Probably need to get over here and take a look at, maybe I'll rotate it just a little bit. There we go. Notice how beautifully they blend in together. So they just blend so nicely together. So you almost can't even tell. Sometimes you can't tell where the seams are. And so they just blend in really nice together. And then, yeah, I can't even. So I thought there was a seam there. It's just a little color difference. But the player's probably not going to notice because they're not going to be exploring. They're going to be driving on the road and interacting with the level. So, you can just take these, scale them as needed, play around with them. I can even take, like this rock here. I'm going to duplicate it and bring it over here, and maybe I'm gonna scale that rock up like huge. Oops. And now I'll take it and just play around with it and maybe put it here in the corner, rotate it around a little bit. But anyway, you're just taking Quixel assets and putting them around everywhere. So let's take a look at some more of these Quixel assets. Now I just downloaded this one that was this new one. If I go to home, it was this shrublands right there. But how do I get to more of these? How do I find more of these? So you can come down to collections and click on collections, and then you can see, because here's the newest one right there. These are the two newest ones, and these are environmental. And so I'm just going to click through environmental and see all the different ones that they have here. So historic, industrial, natural, urban. I'm going to go into natural. And then they've got all these different, because we're doing terrain outdoor levels, they've got all these different packages that you can pull from. And so, and all you need are just pieces. You don't, it's not like downloading a package off the marketplace. It's a little bit different. And so I can pick and choose from each one of these and bring them in. So I think the one we saw, the video we saw was the sandstone video there. But anyway, these are pretty interesting. One thing to note, that while they do have shrubs and grass, smaller foliage and thing like that, they don't yet really have trees in there. You'll see tree stumps and you'll see branches. They don't have like full trees with a leaf canopy on them. There's another way to do that, and I believe I posted a video for you all in Blackboard for the lessons last week. Let me double check. I thought I did. So, get started with Megascan's trees. So you'll have to watch that. It's just a short video. But anyway, to put trees in there, it's a little bit different because they don't do trees quite yet in Bridge. They don't do like full-scale trees because there's the problem of like thousands of leaves. And so, anyway, there's another way of doing it. And so that's what that, they are using Megascans, adding trees.
Do you show us now?
So, no, I've posted the video for you guys to watch the video. So you guys can watch the video on that. It shows how to change the colors of the leaves. It shows how to get wind blowing in the trees. It just shows all different ways. There's different kinds of trees because even if you have a tree that gets full sunlight, obviously it's going to have more branches, more leaves throughout the whole tree, as opposed to a tree that might be stuck in a forest or in a wooded area where they're all fighting for the sunlight up top at the canopy, and they're not going to have as many leaves down below on the lower branches. They may not even have lower branches because there's no leaves to grab the sunlight to support that. And it could be a same type of tree, and they talk about this in the video as well. So anyway, so trees have a little bit more complexity than just rocks and dirt and things like that in there. But pull from all of these. Feel free to look at these. There's tons of assets, literally thousands of assets that you can draw from in order to fill out your level. And, it doesn't have to be desert and rock and clay and all that. There's plenty of organic stuff going on here with all the different stumps and foliage and natural materials and things like that, the grasses and all of that. So there's plenty of that you can create with your level. So anyway, so that's kind of Quixel in a nutshell to kind of get you started a little bit more. Again, be aware of how much stuff you're throwing in there. Let me give you some ideas also, is that when you're redoing your terrain here, obviously the goal of pretty much any environment or level that you make is that you want people to look at it and it should be a pleasing thing. You should look at it and it should be, wow, that's really interesting, is kind of the response that we're looking for. And so we always want people to look at it and think that it's interesting. So what can you do to, variety? I'm really big on variety, making things, look different, and think about all the different ways you can add variety to this level. So for here, just as an example, I started with one input of my river coming in, but in order to branch out and add some variety, when I ended it, I made all these different little tributaries here to end it. So the water it comes in once, but it goes out in multiple directions.
Rivers don't actually do that. They would be joining anything.
Yours don't do that?
Rivers don't do that.
Oh. Some rivers do. Have you ever looked at the Nile?
It's rare, and that's a special thing called the delta.
Yeah. Well, we're the creators of our levels. We can do anything we want. So you're the creator of your level. So make it look interesting. Make it look what's good for you.
But if you don't follow geography, someone might point that out.
Well, but you're saying it never happens. I'm saying it does happen.
If they point that out, then people will be like, the gay, who cares?
I care.
So if you look at the Nile River is got lots of little tributaries coming out of it. So that's an example. Yeah, Evan.
After we use all Quixel rock foundations on the edge, do you want us to flash out the mountains we made?
Yes, if they're that's a good question, because if they're interfering, then you are going to tweak and sculpt a little bit. Like if I don't want my grass coming up right here like that, I'm going to have to tweak that a little bit. And so, because the idea is that now we're trying to use Quixel to make it look even more interesting than just this flat grass and maybe some painted rocks on there. We want to actually use real assets now to really make it look as realistic as possible. And so, yeah, if you've got to tweak this and sculpt that, whether you're smoothing it or flattening it or whatever to get it out of the way, yeah, you're going to have to make a few tweaks there. And so I could also just hide that with other stuff, because now I've got, if I use some forest undergrowth, I can go ahead and just put, where the grasses, anyway, I can put, here's some mossy flat stones I could put there, and tree bark and all sorts of fun stuff. I can just hide with it. So, but yeah, you can definitely flatten it. And if you'll notice, you see whenever I grab it wants to put it in any of these places. So you can actually park it, in all sorts of different places depending on the size of your monitor. of where you want to put things. And so, but fortunately I can pull it off, and if I put it on the side over here or whatever. So I can do this, and I can drag things off of it. Where was that mossy rock? There's some mossy rocks. I'll grab those. Put those there. There's even textures that you can use to just put on stuff. I'll grab some more rocks. And I'm gonna, are you kidding me? Crash. All right, so I crashed. But anyway, I was doing it too fast. I find that if you try to add things too fast, then sometimes you're gonna crash. So anyway, it's restarting. All right, so anyway, that's the demo for today. Is that use Quixel, go into collections, and just start dragging and dropping, but be aware of what size you're creating your level. See, I'm already up to 8.4 gig, and I just added 2 gig just in the demo right now. So you can add stuff pretty quickly. Hold on, it's asking me if I want to restore stuff. Yeah, restore selected. The following assets could not be successfully checked out from the source control. Okay, then whatever. So I've probably lost a lot of stuff, but whatever. I don't think I saved. So yeah, nothing saved. But anyway, at least we got to see it. And it's recorded, so I can prove I did it. So anyway, save frequently. Did my level even save? Let's see if I'm going to set my level to open to that level. Maps and modes. To my Quixel AM terrain. There we go. Open level. Oh, a couple rocks saved. But anyway. All right, so any questions about Quixel and what you're doing? Yeah.
So that video that we watched last week, where they were kind of like showing off how they recorded or took pictures of stuff. Can you do that like with any like environment? Like you like go to a park or something like this?
So no, you can't do that. They have specialized equipment where they literally do like a 3D scan of these environments, and then they bring them back. I guess they just digitally send them to their home team, and there are artists and technical people that turn them into these assets so that we can use them. It's like a whole process where they have to do all that. So currently, I mean, that would be amazing if we could do that. But we currently, as far as I know, we can't do that yet.
We have photogrammetry.
We do have photogrammetry. That's true. Which have you taken the class?
I'm in the class right now. Right now we're doing the outside, but we can take pictures of dirt and grass and bricks, and we can make assets from it.
There you go.
You can figure out how to rotate a mountain.
Is that a
and
program?
then
Take a Passover drive.
Yeah, you can take. Yeah, it's part of the tech art certificate is the photogrammetry, and so that's cool that you guys are doing environment. So that's like a good way to do that. And you can capture some of your own stuff. So yeah.
That's what I was wondering. Amber, like, what was it, like almost 2 years ago, told everyone who was using reality capture to like hold off buying licenses to wait and see if they acquired Quixel, because once they acquired Quixel, then reality capture was a matter of time.
Yeah.
So that was my thought. Was I knew they were doing like Passover drones 2 or 3 years ago to get those textures now, but it almost seems like that was a big benefit of them acquiring that company, and so now they have a massive amount of teams that are able to actually go out and do that.
Yeah, there's teams all over the world now just creating more assets from real world. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
The only limitation is that obviously you can't make things that aren't real because you have to scan something.
Yeah.
You got $20,000 or $30,000 to buy a drone like that can actually pass by and pay $4,000 for the license versus it used to be $20,000 for a reality capture license. It seems like anyone that knows the technology can at least do smaller scale stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes really powerful when you put technology like that in the hands of just everyday people like us, so that now we can create our own content. That's really super powerful. So you could literally create your own environmental models and throw them out there in the Unreal Marketplace and sell them. If you're like, hey, I'm going to do community college campuses, and just go around Wake Tech and start photogrammetryizing all of Wake Tech, and go to different community colleges and throw it up there as a package, and like, hey, if you want to download and have a college campus as a game level or some environment, you can buy my package. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's good.
A result of that that's kind of weird is that a virtual rock is worth more than an actual rock.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what that rock is made of. I mean, if it's an actual rock of gold.
That's
Yeah,
true.
well,
then the
Yeah.
price might be worth less.
But even gold probably isn't as valuable as you think.
It's purely valuable because people place the value on it, kind of like diamonds.
Well, that's everything. Also, diamonds aren't even that rare. Diamonds aren't even that rare. It's just that they limit how many people can get them.
All right, so there's something new with MetaHumans that I wanted to show you guys. And this is not where it is. Let me see. I think it's under news.
Can I use the restroom real quick?
Sure. Let's see. Here it is. How to use reality capture to scan yourself for mesh to MetaHuman. You're going to be hearing more about this. So Brian, you were just asking, is this something we can do ourselves? This is something you can do yourself. Is that using MetaHuman, the MetaHuman tool, you can see this woman right here. She's got a phone and she's just scanning her face, and you can now take it and put your own face, scan yourself for mesh to MetaHuman, and then you can put it in there, and then you can have your own face on there to do it. So you can create an army of yourself.
Yes. Oh, my minions.
I don't know. I'm not sure what they used for that.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know.
Back to what we were doing before real quick. So Quixel stuff is primarily for like photorealism and hyper-realistic stuff. But like everything we've learned can be still applied to like stylized
Yes.
work, right?
Yeah, because you could take and put different kinds of shaders. Like you could do a toon shader, just for an example. So I think you can just take Quixel assets, put a toon shader on it. You might have to tweak it a bit, and then now you've got realistic, shaders, but you put a toon shader on it. So that might be something fun to try and see what it could come up with. But yeah, you can take any realistic thing and for lack of a better term, dumb it down to a less realistic, like you said, more stylized asset. So you sure can.
So are Quixel assets, are they free to like tinker with? Like if you wanted to take like a high poly rock and then retopo it down to low poly to make it like stylized for like a tune shader, is that allowable?
So it's allowable. I'm not sure. I think it already comes with low versions of it,
Okay.
and so that's why when you're oh, that's right, my Quixel crashed. That's why you've got, oh, it's over here. Sorry. When you're adding all of this stuff in there, when you click on something and it's got low quality versions already in it, and so anyway, so you can use those low quality. You're talking about even lower than that?
Well, like attribution wise, is it because it's an Epic product? Am I allowed to take something like that and take it into like Maya or Blender or something like that? And
So my understanding is that Megascans are free to use in the Unreal Engine. We do have an educational license to be able to use it in other products like Blender, Maya, 3ds Max, and stuff like that. But as far as like commercially, I think you have to pay for it in order to do that. So if you were going to do it to alter it, make money in the marketplace, or even something on your own, there may be some pay type of thing involved in that, but it's free to use with Unreal Engine.
okay, yeah.
Even commercially.
I meant
Even commercially, if you're making a game that you're going to sell and make $1 million off of, it's still free to use for that. up to $1 million. If you make $1,001,001, then Epic, I think they want 5% of that first dollar over $1 million.
I'm saying, like, if you took one of these versus going into like Blender and spending hours making your own rocks, if you're using it for a portfolio's sake, it's okay, right, to take one of these and then redo them if you're using it for Sketchfab. It's not downloadable, it's not paid.
As long as you, if you're using it to try and get a job or you're making stuff like that, just make sure you say, I used Quixel assets. You always have to attribute so people don't go, dude, you made that? That's amazing. I did make the overall picture, but I used assets that I got from other places. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody does that all the time. So yeah, you just want to make sure that, you know, that you tell where you got assets from is all. So, all right, let me, so anyway, I did want to show you the, so anyway, yeah, I wanted to make sure that you saw that, and so, you know, this isn't really part of level design, the metahuman stuff. That's more, I don't know what that, you can use that for almost anything, I guess, but just so that you are aware that it's something you can do, and it might be fun to play around with if you've got a couple extra hours in your day and you're just interested in something like that. That sounds really interesting to me. Maybe that's like an over Christmas thing. I can play around with that. So, but they did say, here it is, Reality Capture offers affordable pay per input license plans from as little as $10 while you get started with MetaHuman Creator and Unreal Engine for free, making the whole process very accessible. So that's what I meant when I said there's some little pay component of it, and I'm not sure how all that works, but apparently you can get started for free making, you know, putting your face on a MetaHuman. So that would be worth it, $10 to be able to get your face in your own game. So that would be cool.
That would be awesome.
If you were on a team of people making a game, let's say you're on a team of 5 people and you're making some indie game, what if you all decided, hey, let's scan ourselves and put our own faces in our game and we'll be zombies or whatever, attacking all the players. I don't know, that would be fun. All right, let's go look at our assignment and then I'll let you all get started. So, whoops, wrong one. So the assignment, that's last week, here's this week. Assignment is Quixel, assign.quixel. All right, so this week, using the terrain level you have, I want you to set 5 or more bookmarks in your level again. You can set more, but set at least 5 bookmarks. Starting off, take a screen capture of your current level with each of these bookmarks. Now delete all your foliage, trees, grass, rocks. Now I want you to repopulate the level using Quixel assets to enhance your level, and feel free to make slight sculpting changes to the terrain during this time if needed. Open Bridge in UE5, drag assets into the level using nanite quality, and then rebuild your level using the existing terrain and non-foliage assets, but adding Quixel assets. So you will be adding foliage, just using the Quixel version of it. And then go back to each of your bookmarks and take 5 more screenshots of the level after you've added the Quixel assets. And also I want you to record a 1 to 2 minute video walkthrough and then upload all that to the Dropbox. So pretty straightforward assignment this week. Yeah.
I have a couple questions. For one, we were already supposed to put some Quixel assets in, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first one. Do we have to change those to be nanite quality? Because I kind of use a lot of them.
No, you don't have to. If the
Also,
ones you've already put in there, they're fine.
Okay. Also, is there a way to change the quality once they're in the level, or is it like drawing a separate asset for each quality level?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I wonder if you just downloaded the nanite version, if it would replace it. I haven't tested that yet. Do you want to do a test today and let us know?
That's
a good question.
I forgot to put my level on my USB drive, so I can't work on that.
Okay, so you can just play around in Quixel today then. So yeah. Okay. Any questions about the assignment? Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. All right, I'm going to let you guys have the rest of the time, lab time. Oh, we do have a collaboration this week also. Terrain feedback. I want you to give each other some feedback. So post your YouTube link from the previous assignment into the discussion board and comment on 3 other students' videos. So make sure you do that in collaboration. Terrain final level right there. So if you would do that. So here I said 2 of your classmates' posts, so I'll go with 2. Just give feedback to at least 2 other people this week. So, all right, I'm gonna let you guys work. If you need to take a break, go ahead and take a break. And